Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is DB333, and welcome back to Hard to Find for Kaiserreich as New England. Now, last video, war has broken out across the North American continent, at least in our little corner of the North American continent. We're going after the Cindies right now because the Canadians declared war against them. It feels only right to go ahead and retake our little portion of the world, reclaim our reclaim a bastion of liberty, and liberate the people. So we're doing a pretty good job liberating the people in New Jersey. Pennsylvania, it's also starting to come along a little bit. Casualties are pretty lacking so far, which I'm happy about. We're also about to do our second Declaration of Independence, which hopefully is going to go over well, because if not, I don't know what'll happen. Also, I am impressed. We're about to take Philadelphia, or we're making good progress to push into Philadelphia. Dang it, Ohio. Well, we're about to we're doing decent progress right now to move into Ohio, so let's unlock delay. And now here we go. Ooh, so made a little bit of a pushy push. Although, actually, this seems to give us a wonderful opportunity. Because it's true we do have our supply cut off, but this also gives us just a prime opportunity. Actually, they still have a person left in New York, which is smart on their part. At least not stupid on their part. So we'll get the Green Mountain Boys to back him up. How are we doing on the naval front? Probably go ahead and, although we're slowly losing fuel right now, so I don't know how long we can keep our boys out at sea. I mean, it looks like they're going to start moving into Michigan coming up soon. Oh, word. As the Industrial Revolution arrived in the U.S., factory owners would hire young workers for various tasks, especially in the textile mills that categorize much of New England. Finding children in the factories has not been uncommon. Children tend to work in factories and mines. Their small statures make it easy to handle machinery and navigate tight spaces. Since 1870, the number of children in the workforce increased, and now, with New England attempting to rebuild its industry, that number has not stopped growing. Nonetheless, the implementation of children in the workforce has attracted a substantial degree of controversy. I wonder why. Factory work is dangerous, and the children find themselves exposed to the chemicals and machinery of the industrial workplace that often lead to horrible accidents or death. Activist groups such as the National Child Labor Commission, formed in 1904, have risen up in response to child labor, often publicizing young people's lives and working conditions. For similar causes, I've also seen efforts to reduce the number of children in the workforce and instead create state compulsory education laws to keep children in schools rather than at work. With New England's industry beginning to recover, Congress has now brought the issue of child labor to its latest debate. Some argue that children are needed to help struggling families and help New England's industry compete with the rest of the American continent. Many believe the practice of child labor is inhumane. So they push Congress to approve compulsory universal education laws, following the age-old New England tradition of education. Doing so would significantly enhance our research and intellectual capacities as we create a new generation of scientists and researchers. This would cost fewer hands in the factories. Restrict their hours during the school day. Let's do that. From here, let's go ahead and do... Let's do the Southern Fire. We need that war support, I think. Yeah. While other matters took our attention right after the creation of the Republic of New England and the outbreak of the Second American Civil War, the situation now is stabilized. We can no longer ignore the raging inferno that's swelling up the rest of America. The people must ready themselves for a struggle ahead. So we're about to find out whether England will give us independence or be dicks. I don't think they're exactly in a position to reject. At least I want to say they're not. How wonderful. The Canadian government has responded to our demands in the affirmative. We are ready to relinquish control over all our government apparatus, express willingness to work with us as equal partners in the Entente Alliance. Well, we are grateful. Well, here we go. When these guys attack into there, that just gives us an opportunity to encircle them and make them regret their life choices. Making some nice pushes into Penn. Could do war propaganda. That actually wouldn't be a bad idea. So let's do some war propaganda. Then we'll go ahead and let's fund the Connecticut arms industry. Historically, the state of Connecticut has long housed a number of weapons manufacturers such as Colt, Stag, and Ruger. With the extra manpower available from a pool of unemployed laborers, resources can be directed towards expansion of these historic arms industries. That sounds pretty good, especially right around now. Here, let's do the Lackawanna Steelworks. The old Lackawanna Steel Company was the largest independent steel company in the world at the turn of the 20th century. However, unionization and the hard times of the past few decades have been poor for the company. Following their bankruptcy, Bethlehem Steel purchased a plant, but has struggled to find the money needed to modernize the plant with proper equipment of the current age. Let's go ahead and fix that. We're still in the Great Depression. Actually, we're really still in the Great Depression. Let's do the Federal Housing Act. And then we'll probably do Social Security, I think. Substantial rise of syndicalism across the nation occurred due to the agitation of labor to the seemingly oppressive practices of its industrial barons that dominated the nation's economy. Congress is indeed wary of the totalitarian, pervasive, radical nature of socialism. The latest congressional debate brings up the issue of wage and labor standards to the table. The proposed new law aims to amend the labor agitation in the country while also keeping the populace far from the allure of syndicalism. Supported by individuals within the Bureau of Labor Standards and Congresswoman Mary T. Norton, proposed plan to formally adopt an 8-hour workday, a 40-hour work week, and a wage for overtime hours. This act declares that workers must be paid a minimum wage and that overtime wage must be 1.5 times what workers would usually be paid. This act also aims to cover younger workers and declares that workers under 18 are exempt from specific dangerous jobs. Critics of the proposed law argue that this is nothing more than singles than cheap clothing. The law may dramatically strengthen workers and unions, who may use the act as motivation to demand more. On the other hand, proponents of the law are confident that the passage of such protections will guarantee workers' loyalty, ensuring that the issue of labor rights is dealt with for the time being. Let's do a fair day's wage. So we're working on getting New York City taken care of. Yeah, so far so good. 7K casualties versus that. We've done a good job killing some Reds, which is a good American tradition. They are starting to have a little bit of their tanks, which is interesting. I might go ahead and see if I can crush control over New York City. I think, at least in theory, I will get the rest, all these American lands handed off to me when that time comes. But until then, just gotta hang on. Let's go ahead and do the Federal Housing Act. Across New England, countless thousands are living in poverty, are homeless and destitute. The name Prosperity Future is not living up to its name. Seems a little incomplete for a focus, but we can go with it. Why not? Oh, and we already get New York City off the bat. That is really nice. Let's go ahead and get some more subs and some more convoys. Why not? I'm very much a fan of having New York City. Let's take a few visa bits of Jersey. And that's cool. We get control over New Jersey now. Okay. Yeah, they're just transferring control over us off the bat. That is really nice. Over the past weeks, New Englander government forces have been busy in New York City arresting those who we feel have proven hindrance to our control, helping our local support, spreading the good word amongst the people. We want to reassure them that, as American citizens, they have no reason to fear our presence. Our efforts have slowly begun to bear fruit, even in the midst of all this chaos. Excellent news. That is great. We have a core on New York City now. So we'll get all the benefits and bonuses of having it under our control. Assume the same will happen in the rest of the states as we go along. Probably Jersey from here. Whenever we take... See, Penn is split into 2 states. So we have Pittsburgh and then Philadelphia. I'm going to guess when we get, well, Philadelphia and then Pittsburgh, respectively. Although for here it might be Harrisburg. No, Harrisburg is the capital of Pennsylvania. So since it's in there, it would make more sense if we got it from Philly, but that's besides the point. Ooh. An exciting development made in the field of printing. A man named Chester Carlson has approached numerous businesses with a successful patent, a technique of dry photocopying, but he's given the name Xerography. His story is a remarkable one that reflects the truth of the American dream. Born in Washington State in 1906, Carlson worked various odd jobs in his youth due to his family's struggling financial situation. The principal provider of his family, Carlson often turned to his own interest in inventing. He was heavily inspired by the story of Thomas Edison. To Carlson, the ideal of inventing is alluring, and as it could provide an escape of his meager social status. Carlson attended the California Institute of Technology, a hard-working young man where his school's tuition placed him further in debt. At the height of the Great Depression in the state in 1930, Carlson found himself out of work and out of money. In 1936, Carlson began to study law at the New York Law School in Tribeca. Amidst the chaos that engulfed the American nation, spending long nights at the New York Public Library, he grew tired of copying law book by hand due to his inability to forward them. This seemingly endless task led him to read an article in an obscure German scientific journal from Paul Celan regarding the nature of copying machines. He conducted experiments after experiments in his tiny apartment, often smoky and smelling, sometimes even explosive. Despite developing arthritis of the spine, Carlson persisted, working with an Austrian immigrant, Otto Kornei. Finally, on October 22, 1938, the men achieved a breakthrough. Kornei wrote 10.22-38 Astoria on ink on a slide, which then had an electrical current generated and then transferred onto wax paper. In the hand of the 2 men was the world's first xerographic copy. While Carlton had already filed for a patent, it remains unknown whether or not business will approach Carlton for his invention. The Army Signal Corps already expressed great interest in dry copies produced alternatively than the traditional photographic technique. But will the Army buy it? Only one way to find out. Let's get some more guns. We got free civilian factories, so I think the play now is military factories. So we get some... Probably... These are decently away from the front line, so I feel confident doing those. So let's get working in New York, Albany, and Mass. We're doing pretty solid work. I'm proud of us. Guys, I really am. Cyprus declared war on the Ottoman Empire. I want to check in. Oh, yeah, Greece is doing an okay job. You still got to push all that back, and of course. Venice is alive, which I think is pretty funny. How's Belgium doing? Good old Albert is back. Absolute mad lad over there. Azerbaijan versus Iran. Now, I've seen Azerbaijan fucking eat Iran when this happens traditionally. And it looks like it might still happen. Oh, no. So yeah, wait and see what happens there. In the meanwhile... making some nice pushes into Pennsylvania, mainly Philly and Pittsburgh. Working under the Secretary of Interior, young Robert Weaver has pushed the government to reduce prices of cost of living. With the approval of Joseph Martin Jr., Weaver's drafted a U.S. housing program to provide financial support to local housing departments. Particular focus for this program, Weaver's hoped this housing program can provide subsidies for his fellow African-American brothers and sisters. They've been particularly affected by the prolonged depression. Some of the first workers laid off from the farms and industrial plants. Many are currently struggling to provide for housing and food for their families. Let's put a roof over every head. With that, I think we'll go ahead and do this Social Security Act of, well, 1939. The U.S. is the only modern industrial country that does not provide a safety net of Social Security to our people. Older Americans sometimes left to fend for themselves in this trying time, like these when their families already struggle to provide for themselves without needing to worry about feeding grandma as well. More political power, more monthly population, consumer goods isn't that good, but stability will be nice. It'll be a nice little counter to that. And hopefully that'll just wrap up the Great Depression. Order restored in New Jersey. Wonderful. You'll love to see it. Belgium has joined the Entente. Interesting. Let's get an improved courier. Then I think from there we'll want to do the steel mills, I think, and then yeah, steel mills I think will be a good play from there. It looks like the tanks are going away. I was about to say, if we can take Harrisburg, cities are kind of being split down the middle, which is nice. If we can take Harrisburg, actually they still have that railroad connection there, it looks like. So I assume that won't cut them off. Well, that's not nice. How are things going in India? Okay, question mark? They're being pushed there, but they're also about to take the commune over there. Or the capital of commune, at least. So I'll say okay for now. Let's get working on, I think, fighters is a good idea. Fighters, as well as some extra close air support. We have no aluminum or rubber, though. So I think we'll go, Dream of Commune kind of defeats the point. Let's do that, and let's trade with the Dutch. For now, we'll also trade with... That's not supposed to be Flanders Wallonia, I think. But, yeah, Belgium. They're back with the old gang. The gang's all here, boys. It's beautiful. We got some new units. Very nice to see. Back to good old Philadelphia. We got the new generation of rifles. Ooh. The position of poet laureate has been discussed within state politics for a few years now. A single person to represent the corpus of hundreds of artists gets a tie to film and popular music as an art form. The New England Congress has decided to create the title along with a reconcentration of the Boston Athenaeum as a temporary Library of Congress. The top candidate in the congressional poll is Robert Frost, who exhibits a distinctly New England mastery of modernist poetry. Public polls, however, shown the favor for the pulp fiction writer H.P. Lovecraft. Lovecraft has written in the papers that he would accept this award but not appear in public for a ceremony. Congress isn't buying. Let's do Robert Frost. Like every other douchebag New Englander. Let's do Rhode Island infrastructure as well. Using the government funds, local officials, directed by prominent governor / vice president, parentheses if Welsh, Thomas Green, have put forward plans to modernize the state. I don't know what being Welsh has to do with anything, but okay. Many miles of highways are to be constructed to better connect the region, as well as public schools to help educate the next generation of skilled workers, make it a sprawling urban region. What exactly that means, I'm not sure, but I'm sure it's going to be something useful. So, we'll get that going. And, I'll record a few more minutes for you guys, why not? Because I'm having fun. And probably will cut it here or stop recording after this. Let's get more Marines, even though we don't really have Marines. And then, God, what am I supposed to fucking... Right. And that's what I can fucking research. New support companies. Because it's 39. I forgot. I didn't notice. It's not really keeping track of time very well. Moving into old Philly. Got the Social Security Act passed. Let's do steel mills of Maine. Maine is full of valuable mineral deposits. We must ensure that they are accessible for mining through the development of new resource extracting technologies. I think once we take Philadelphia, we'll probably ease up on all the charges. Although, if you joined, would that be beneficial? I think so. Are you having issues, buddy? Supply, it looks like. You're not really connected to a railroad very well. We have a socialist versus them. Taking Philadelphia, which is the capital of the state of Philadelphia. Go figure. What did they transfer control to us? Canada's not giving us control quite yet. Although, yeah, we're starting to take the railroad now, which is going pretty well. Morale has always been an essential factor in the art of war. There's no secret that the New England is indeed a David fighting against multiple lives. New England lacks the industry and manpower. Gotta sneeze. Hold on. Nope, I'm not gonna sneeze. New England lacks the industry and manpower of the other Civil War factions. With morale respectfully low within the Army, the Young Women's Christian Association President Mary Shotwell Ingram has pushed President Joseph Martin Jr. to fund the creation of morale and recreational services for New England military personnel. With the President's approval, multiple nonprofit organizations combined to form the United Service Organization. Churches, barns, railroads, cars, museums, and even log cabins have become recreational centers where GIs could relax and socialize. The establishments provided service members with a place to relax, have a dance, see films, and of course, a hungry GI cannot deny the free coffee and donuts. The USO has been known for bringing concerts and events close to the front lines to provide battle-weary troops with hope and encouragement in the desperate war to reunite the nation. Famous Hollywood refugees like Betty Davis and Spencer Tracy joined efforts of a growing cast of stars in the media to help the war effort by performing for the soldiers in the trenches. We have also seen significant influx of women volunteers, provide a nostalgic hour for Ruth's soldiers so he can talk and meet with the girls from back home in person. For many of these men, the girls they meet at the USO events remind them of whom they are fighting for, bringing back to mind their loved ones and sisters and friends they left behind to fight for American freedom. We're fighting for the right America. Ooh. Alright, let's get working on some of this. Let's do construction first. I think that's a solid move. I assume we'll take Harrisburg. The Union States starting to make a bit of a comeback. We have full control over eastern Pennsylvania. We're doing a pretty solid job overall. Order restored in Philadelphia. That's what I love to see. Steel mines in Maine. Maybe let's do... What do we want to do? Let's do Maine Maritime School. Since our actually, I remember Liberty Ship Dock project. While war in Europe is inevitable, with the Entente's ambition to execute the largest naval operation in the history of mankind, the dockyards in New England are working overtime to meet the increasing needs of our alliance. To further boost our output, a centralized construction scheme has been created by the government to guide further expansion of these shipyards. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's fall in love. And we'll go a little longer, why not? Top of the month. This is what I been wanting to do for a while. It's good to be back in Kaiserreich. I'll eventually probably hop back into TNO, maybe later. Actually, I want to listen to this podcast. And then I'll probably want to go to bed. It is almost 11:30. It's the top of the month. I should just... Okay. One more week. One more week. It's 11:30. I did take a nap, so I know I'll be up a bit later, but I've had a halfway normal sleeping schedule. Yeah, sure. And I'd like to not completely lose track of it. It's already past a week. Okay, I gotta stop now before shit gets worse. Thanks for watching as always, ladies and gentlemen. If you like this video, leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. And we'll see more of this content. Feature the sub button for more uploads every weekday, as well as occasionally Saturdays. If you have any comments, feedback, concern, any sort, leave in the comment section below. I read all the comments I get and appreciate any other feedback you might have for me. If you want to chat, play games, anything of the sort, check out my Discord if you want to send me back to any of the month. I have a Patreon if you want to see me do this with life. I have a Twitch. All those links are down in the description box below. I thank you for watching as always. My name has been Dogbook333. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.